The fact that I can't put what I'm pissed off the most about in this show because these clips either make me itch or piss me off tells you everything you need to know about the rewatchability value of this show. Hey all, how are y'all? It's me, Eloha. Hey guys, and welcome back or welcome to Elements of Eloha, where I talk about things that interest me, affect me, or am very passionate about. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing a rant on why I can't rewatch most of High School Musical, the series. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So one of the reasons why I can't rewatch the show was how badly Courtney was written in season 1. First of all, Courtney's one of the main characters, one of the series regulars, and we didn't find out her last name until season 2. And even though she was a series regular, she didn't really feel like a main character. She was mostly just there to be a black best friend to Nene. Of course, we did find out that she also has a passion for costume designing, but we rarely got to see her do that. She was more of the emotional support for Nene. She didn't really get to do much in season 1 besides hype up Nene and be there to comfort Nene whenever Nene needed her, but I can rarely think of a time that Nene would do the same for Courtney, even though they're supposed to be ride or die BFFs. On the other hand, Ricky's best friend Big Red has a life and interests and a job outside him. He even has a romance arc with Ashlyn as well. Just listen to how the wiki categorizes Courtney in the first 8 episodes of the season. The auditions. She spends most of the time in this episode either hyping Nene up for her audition or urging Nene to be careful of who she chooses to date. The read-through. She continues to act as Nene's sassy black friend. She picks out clothes for Nene while helping her sort out her feelings for Ricky. And it keeps getting worse. The Wonder Studies. She tries to help Nene figure out a way to handle the possibility that Gina stole Nene's phone, but she had already stolen Gina's shoes. After getting Nene to return the shoes, she steals a bag of Gina's things, including her scripts, scarves, and headphones. So not only is she the sassy black friend, she's an accomplice to crimes too for her ride or die BFF, Nene. Yay! Blocking. She goes to a cafe with Nene to comfort her over her breakup with EJ and gets a text from Tanya Freeman, which Nene automatically assumes is from EJ. Tanya had been vetoing all of her ideas and suggesting the characters wear things like track pants. You see how all of the things Courtney does in this season have Nene tied to it? It was frustrating. Let's keep going, shall we? Homecoming. Courtney stays with Nene in the bathroom while she tries to flush her homecoming dress down the drain and suggests they skip homecoming to have a girls' night. Nene spends most of the girls' night venting to Courtney about her problems until Courtney spots Tanya there. Nene says that she should say something, so she walks up to her table on comments on the sweater that she was wearing, despite previously vetoing the idea when Courtney suggested it. Later, she goes outside with Nene to sing Born to be Brave. What team? During the rehearsal, she suggests that instead of being surrounded by boys, she's surrounded by a forest of supportive sisters. She later helps to organize the flash mob at the school conference. See? It wasn't until episode 6 where they started talking about Courtney's interests, such as her ability to design costumes. She is a fashionista down. That's why I love Courtney, because she also reminded me of Raven Baxter as well. And Thanksgiving, she spends the episode visiting family, and then that was season 1, episode 6 and 7. So these were the only 2 episodes in the season so far that she doesn't have anything tied to Nene in her storyline. Then episode 8, we go back to Nene and Nene's problems in Courtney's storyline, because she barely felt like a character.
Oh. 'Cause, 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 Damn,
When Nini talks about applying to the Youth Actors Conservatory, she asks about them being separated for senior year, which is a good thing because Courtney will actually get to feel like a character. When Miss Jen asks for someone to sing to the test speaker system, she gives an amazing performance of Bop to the Top. Near the end of the episode, she calls Yak to ask them to come see Nini in High School Musical.
What?
You see the issue? How most of her stuff was Nini, 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 Nini. Up until Nini ends up going to the Youth Actors Conservatory for the beginning of season 2, and that's when we finally get to learn more stuff about Courtney. She started feeling like a full-fledged character. I wanted to compare and contrast the two main black girl characters in the show, which are Courtney and Gina, which we get to know Gina's last name in season 1. Even though she was also written kind of stereotypically in season 1, as she was kind of also seen as the villainous black girl who would do anything to get her way. In this case, get the role of Gabriella. She was very manipulative and she did steal Nini's phone. She was very much more than meets the eye. She was a pretty soft girl under all that tough exterior, and we got to see she had a heart, and she was, at the end of the day, a lonely girl. She didn't get to stay at one place for too long because she was a transfer student. She also got to experience love. In this case, we got to see it through her friendship and eventual crush on Ricky. You see how much more we learn about the light-skinned black girl compared to the brown-skinned black girl? Which I'm glad the later seasons fix, by the way. Not only do we get to learn her last name, which is Green, she also gets a love interest in season 2 called Howie. And now we head on to my next issue with the show, which is the relationships. I'm not gonna lie to you. When we first got the news of casting for season 2 and I saw the casting for Howie, I was like, okay, period. He has a tie to Courtney, black love, all right. But then I saw the dynamic between them on screen and it was giving very much one-sided. Like, not only did they not really have much chemistry, but it definitely seemed like Courtney was more upfront about showing her feelings with Howie than Howie was to her. Like, obviously we knew Howie liked Courtney, but he definitely didn't act like it. Courtney is a very upfront person. She likes to know where people stand with her, and she needs to know if people feel the same way. And most of the time, Howie didn't do that. He was also pretty dishonest to Courtney too, especially when we found out that Howie was from North High and helping North High win. And what does this man do to regain his girlfriend's trust back? He sings a song. He sings a song talking about if I can't love her, da 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 da, and this was supposed to be an apology.
You're not ashamed of yourself. Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
And I'm glad Courtney didn't accept it up front. She was just staring at him with a straight face, as he should be, because who was he fooling? And then when it came to opening night, instead of being like a normal, cheering, supportive boyfriend, all he does is just sit in the audience like this. Messing with my girl's confidence and everything. Like, he just pissed me off. He just pissed me off so much, but that's why I'm rooting for Jetney in season 4. Now let's get into another one of these ships, which is definitely by far the most toxic relationship in the show. which is Ricky and Nene. The amount of stuff I had to cut from this video because talking about these two's relationship makes me itch so bad is literally so crazy to me. Now, originally, when it came to Ricky and Nene, I was shipping them mostly off the fact of I love a good exes to lovers story, and then also in season 1 it was clear that Ricky and Nene were supposed to be modeled as Troy and Gabriella in the first High School Musical movie. But definitely the main reason why they broke up, and which is a main issue with all these characters' relationships, is a
Communication, lack of communication, lack of communication, lack of communication, lack of communication, communication. Hello, lack of communication.
Now, the main reason why these two broke up was because Nene wrote a song which was basically telling Ricky how she loves him, but Ricky got too scared to say it back, so he ended up running away like a coward. And between that time, it was the end of their sophomore year and the beginning of their junior year, so they were on a break. And instead of just like completely breaking off the relationship, next thing you know, Ricky goes into junior year thinking that him and Nene are good. All of a sudden, Nene pops out with a new boyfriend, EJ. Can we also talk about the fact that Courtney said that EJ was fine?
Yeah?
To who? To whom? EJ. Which EJ also treated Nene like crap too. You're also going to steal Nene's phone all because you wanted the part of Troy and Nene got the part of Gabriella. Since things didn't turn out the way you wanted with you getting Troy and Nene getting Gabriella, you deliberately go behind Nene's back and break Nene's trust. And he tried to apologize for it by singing that stupid A Billion Sorry song that makes me itch. It's awful. Anyway, you're just an understudy. An understudy with no girlfriend. Did all that for what, sir? But I digress. Ricky and Nene's relationship's main failure was just due to a lack of communication. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I was first watching the season as a early 13-year-old, I was excited for Ricky and Nene to get back together. But once we had that year gap between seasons 1 and 2, I was like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna work. The first instance where I knew that Ricky and Nene weren't gonna work out was the first episode of season 2, where they were playing a game of Truth or Dare, and when Nene first got into the Youth Actors Conservatory, she didn't immediately tell Ricky. It had to be blurted out in a game of Truth or Dare, where she was just like, Ricky, I'm going to Colorado. When he was so excited about telling Nene, hey, we're going to be spending the rest of the year together as a couple, that didn't immediately make you feel guilty that you're gonna spend it somewhere else. So they were trying to do the whole long distance thing, and it was awkward. And then Nene got homesick, and then she was like, I actually miss it back at East High in Salt Lake City. So she came back, and then Ricky was immediately excited because, you know, he was spending the rest of the year with his girlfriend in person. They didn't have to do the long distance thing. And then all of a sudden she's just like, Ricky, I didn't come back to Salt Lake City and East High for you.
What the hell?
He never said that, but there was a lot of instances when she came back and she was just so rude to Ricky for no reason. I think another instance in season 2 was when Ricky was trying to get Nene a part in their spring musicale, which they did Beauty and the Beast. And even though Nene didn't ask him to do that, he still wanted to because he wanted to do another musical with his girlfriend. So Nene didn't end up getting a lead part, but Miss Jen wrote a special part for Nene when she was playing the Rose, and she wrote a song about her and Ricky's relationship, which was the Rose song. And then also when Ricky was like, hey, this kind of sounds like a personal attack on me. You sure it's not about me? And she was like, no, Ricky, the Rose song isn't about you. Just straight up gaslighting him. When, yes, sister, yes, it was about him. And then the last straw was when Nene posted the song and Ricky saw a hate comment and he deleted it and he felt bad about it. And finally they were just like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna work. And I was like, hallelujah. It was horrible. It was horrible to witness. It really was. And another bad thing about it was that Ricky couldn't really communicate his feelings to Nene, so he'd end up just talking to Gina about it. And we knew in season 1 that Gina had a crush on Ricky. So obviously Gina was about to move in season 1, but luckily she was able to stay with the Caswells and stay the rest of the year at East High. And she confided in Ashlyn that her and Ricky had a moment. And obviously, Ricky kind of misinterpreted the moment because all of a sudden, boom, he's back with Nene. And so all he would do in season 2 with Gina was just tell Gina about his problems with Nene. And I know it had to hurt because, like, you know, this is the love of your life and he's just constantly talking about Nene, 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 Nene. And I'm glad she put her foot down and was like, Ricky, no more of this hypothetical nonsense. No more if we were dating, if we were dating. We're not dating yet. We're not dating. And I love that. I love that for her. And then let's also talk about EJ and Gina's relationship. Because not only did these two plan a scheme together to get the parts that they really wanted in the fall musical, which were the leading roles, Troy and Gabriella, EJ made it deliberately clear in season 1 that he was like, I'm a senior and seniors don't date sophomores. And only to come to find out that that man puts EJ and Gina in a relationship. And I liked their dynamic in season 2. It was very much like a nice brother-sister relationship. And then Gina eventually started to catch feelings for EJ. And anytime where Gina would try and plan something with EJ would constantly turn her down and just straight up embarrass her. Like, my Gina was just suffering in season 2 for no reason. Anytime she tried to plan something, EJ would just stand her up and Gina would start crying. And also, let's get into that season 2 finale. That season 2 finale freaking pissed me off. Because Gina asked EJ to get risotto and he stood her up. And I guess he ended up coming to his senses. And they just have the most awkward scene. And that was supposed to close out season 2, where she was like, I kid you not, this is one of the worst scenes, if not the worst scene in the show. And of course, that man wrote it. And it is just so cringe. I wish I could show you the clip, but it's just too cringe. So let me set the scene for you. EJ! And he turns around. And she's like, can I can I kiss you? It was so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. And he was like, what? Will you be my first kiss? And then proceed an awkward montage of these two just walking half a block and then running and then it fades to black.
Unattractive, overweight, unworthy, untalented.
That finale alone would have been my 13th reason, because not only did we get so much unanswered questions, it was horrible. The only good thing about that finale was the music number that they did, Second Chance. And then also season 2, a lot of the plot revolved around an award show for high school theater called the Mankeys, where East High was competing against North High, and they were both doing the same musical, Beauty and the Beast. And Miss Jen eventually got so worked up where Ricky was missing his harness because North High had stole his harness. And when he had pointed that out when they're about to open, all of a sudden Miss Jen wants to tell my boy basically kill himself. I'll just jump off something high. And I thought they were like, what? Mind you, he's dating the boy's dad, and you just told his kid to go jump off something high. And then they get the opportunity to find out about the results from the Mankeys, and they just decide, oh, we don't want to hear it, and decide to burn the letter. I was pissed because you're not about to tell your lead to go jump off a cliff, and then all of a sudden you don't want to find out the results about the Mankeys when all this stress was caused by the Mankeys. And then even though season 3 was the best season, can we also get into the fact that season 3 was the best season, but it was also the shortest season? How is the best season the shortest season? I remember when season 2 was announced to have 2 more episodes than season 1. I was like, okay, 2 more episodes for development, yay! And it ended up being the worst season. So even though season 3 was the best season of the show, undeniably, the relationship between EJ and Gina pissed me off so much because EJ was just constantly sabotaging the relationship. Gina was all in. She was constantly trying to spend time with EJ, but it seemed like all EJ cared about was lying to Gina and just cared about planning the summer musical. When you have a girlfriend who's trying to spend time with you and you keep shutting her down. So when she's just like, okay, let me go hang out with my friend Ricky, he's mad. And then when they break up, all of a sudden, he's like, oh, is it about Ricky? No, it's not about Ricky. It's the fact that you were a crappy boyfriend who didn't pay attention to her. Ugh. Ugh. And then also, like, EJ tried to gaslight Ricky so much in that season 3 finale. All of a sudden, he wanted to play the brother card. Like, EJ was like, oh, we're brothers, Ricky. Brothers where? Brothers when he shot a basketball into your nose? Brothers, when he slapped you for taking what was rightfully his? Brothers? Brothers? And then how they were trying to portray EJ, Nene, Ricky, and Gina as the core four when the only thing that as a unit they have in common are their relationships with each other. EJ and Ricky weren't brothers, and Gina and Nene definitely weren't sisters. They had a big rivalry. Gina stole Nene's phone. Nene stole Gina's shoes. So there was no sisterhood there. They did have some, other than having some cute scenes in the finale, those two weren't friends at all. Then even though I did like Carlos and Seb's relationship, again in the beginning of the show when it was developing, they did have communication issues as well. And then the best ships always get the least amount of screen time. It seems like when it comes to the show, they like to write good or decent development for the show, for the show's relationships, but when it comes to them actually being official, all of a sudden you can just tell that it's headed for the worst. Because all their scenes together, you can only watch them once, but you have to struggle to get through them again. Even talking about that scene with EJ and Gina in the season 2 finale just makes my skin crawl, makes me itch. It was horrible. But yeah, out of all the relationships in the show, I can count on like one hand the ships that I like. Ricky and Gina, Big Red and Ashlyn, Maddox and Ashlyn, Jet and Courtney, Carlos and Seb, and also Miss Jen and Mr. Mazzara. Luckily, that's one finger on another hand. I also wanted to highlight the fact that Courtney and Gina's sisterhood single-handedly annihilated Courtney and Nene's friendship, and also Gina and Ashlyn's so-called sisterhood. Gina's so-called sister, Ashlyn, pissed me off so much in season 3. Not only was she gonna act like Miss Saltine Crackers when Gina finally got the lead as Anna and Courtney got Elsa. Like, girl, if you don't be in the ensemble and be grateful for that, you couldn't have even been in the show at all. But she was gonna be regardless. And then also she was really nasty to Maddox and Val too, who's really acting like Gina 1.0 Ashlyn. Also, one issue I wanted to add as well was its continuity issues, because how is it in season 3 that Ricky and Nene are both turning 18 and Courtney is still 16 when they're all in the same grade and they were all born in the same year? If 2 plus 2 is 4 and 5 plus 5 is 10, the math ain't mathin'. The math ain't mathin'. Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. But yeah, season 4 is coming out in a few weeks, and I just wanted to do this rant because I did see how some mutuals that I have on Twitter are rewatching the show, and I just can't, because the horrible characterization of Courtney and just the relationships that are just hard to rewatch. Can't do it. I can't do it. But I will be tuning in when season 4 comes out. And I also hate that it's going to be 8 episodes again. If these episodes are not at least 45 minutes long, because mind you, they also have to sneak in 1 or 2 songs in there. Tim, bombastic side-eye. But yeah, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe. My last video is in the description, and go and follow me on my social medias in the outro. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.